really ramp up the relationship building within your region with all the reps. And we're going to be starting to go after, once we see who's running, we want to see what their voting records have been, what their positions have been. We've got a lot of rhinos out there, and we want to try to get, polls and things generated to the voters for anybody running for re-election or for election between now and September, October. And so that they're informed, and we can try to influence and get some better people in there. Right now, it's looking like most of the Senate that's up for re-election is unopposed. Nobody seems to be stepping up to run against any senator out there. But we're hearing numbers in the 20 to 30 range that are House members that have decided not to run. And so, the filing deadline is the 4th of February. And then we'll know who else has entered the primary race, and hopefully they'll be better than who's there. So, I mean, that's another thing we'll have to figure out, is anybody running better than what we got? But it wouldn't be a stretch in my mind. So,
hey, Marty, so would it be, so if somebody has not filed by February 4th, they cannot be a candidate other than maybe a write-in, is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So if we know where there are rhinos that should be challenged, we ought to be trying to find somebody to challenge them.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I don't know how many of you know Dave Waters, but he's a COS member. Dave is primarying his House representative. He is friends with the guy. The guy's already had words with him. And Dave said, look, this is not personal. This is professional. And, you don't always represent things the way I want it to be represented. So I'm going to run against you. And it's going to cost him time and money. It's going to, take away some steam from his campaign. And I don't know if, Dave will have a chance, but he's going to, push this guy's button and either, cost him some money or maybe turn him to be a little bit more effective if he doesn't win.
Okay. Well, one thing maybe we should be thinking about as this session wraps up is who we want to see out of there. Maybe it's too late, in this election cycle, but there's always another one coming.
That's right. Yeah, and I think that needs to be a big part of our growing activism efforts, is to really track these candidates and see who the good ones are, see who the bad ones are, push for term limits. We're looking for term limits at the federal level. There's no reason we can't look for term limits at the state level.
Yep. Say, Gary.
Yep.
What do you know about Liz Brown? She seems to be a thorn in our side. And isn't she from Fort Wayne?
She is from Fort Wayne. And she's the one
who's bottling everything up.
Well, she bottled up the basically constitutional carry a year ago.
Doing it again.
She's doing it again.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I have not heard of anybody challenging her.
Well, I'll tell you a little quick story about Liz Brown. So she's been chair of the Judiciary Committee for many years now. And I've also been told that she's a friend of COS because she's supported the resolution. But nonetheless, we want good constitutional people. And Senator Tomes put a bill together in the Senate for constitutional carry. He worked with several of the different about 3 or 4 different firearms organizations over the summer. And on the day his bill was going to be read to the committee, he went up and read it. And he said that, what it currently represented was basically the same thing as they've had for several years, because he wanted the committee involvement, but he was prepared to submit a number of amendments. This is the first reading, okay? Liz Brown said there will be no amendments. And you should have seen the faces of the other committee members. They're looking around like, what the heck? Here's the author who just went through the bill, and he said he wants to submit amendments to his own bill, and she shut down amendments. So she heard testimony from all of those firearms groups. They had to do with, this bill says you have to be 21 in order to have a carry. They were going to take the permit or off of the carry side of it, but you had to be 21. So if anybody went over and served, at the age of 18 and came back before they were 21, they still couldn't, they'd been trained in weapons in the military, but they couldn't possess a firearm. Things like that. There's all kind of proximity issues about schools and courthouses. And Tomes indicated, he really stressed this when he read it. He said, this bill, it reads more like it's about people who are illegal to carry a weapon. But this is about legal carry people. They don't commit crimes. And he brought in a professor that spoke very well about this, had 25 years of data showing that, legal gun owners are the safest people out there. The sheriffs were for it, but she would not allow any of those amendments to be even read. She heard all the testimony, and she shut it down every single time. There will be no amendments to this bill. And she's not the only one doing this. A lot of these chairs are not hearing amendments to any of the bills, and the rest of the committee is just sitting there not doing anything because the chair said no. So we got to really focus on the power of the House and Senate leadership and the power that's given to these chairs, because what's the purpose of a committee if the chair won't allow any discussion?
Isn't Dale in her Senate district?
He is.
Yeah, it's we got to work on her, and I'm going to be making the rounds when this session's over. I want to hopefully, between myself and the team, I'd like to get to every rep, House and Senate, refamiliarize them with COS, determine exactly where they are with COS, because a lot of people are not there anymore that were there when we passed the resolution, and the ones that were there that even voted for it probably forgot half what they voted for. So I think we need a big refresh on, where we stand within the state.
Yeah, my senator's retiring, and I know there are two guys trying to challenge for his seat. That's, gosh, I just had it on the tip of my tongue, and now it's slipped away. Dennis Cruz.
Okay, well, he's been a good supporter.
Yeah, he's a good guy, good supporter, and there are two guys that are challenging him. I don't really know either one of them, but I'll see if I can find out more. One has the strong support of the big business interests, I think, and the other guy's probably a little more to our liking, although I don't know without having talked to him. But yeah.
Well, the thing you can do too, Gary, with a guy like Cruz that's leaving, is maybe try to have coffee or something with him and find out just like what's going on with leadership. Things need to change in the policy making, and it's going to take a handful of them to step up. But who are the ones that are willing to step up? A guy like that's leaving may be willing to kind of share some of and he's been in there for a fair amount of time, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's been there quite a while, and he's a real straight shooter.
Yeah,
he'll tell you what he thinks.
Yeah, we're trying to get as much of a download from people like that as we can.
Okay. I will definitely plan to get with him.
But that's pretty much what I had, and any help you guys can give to look for some grassroots supporters that want to turn into, regular activists. I put out something, Gary sent it around, a while back. I kind of was conservative in a 40-hour a week or a 40-hour a month type of a estimate, but that was more related to the, when they're in session. It wouldn't be that much, when they're not in session, but the idea is the closer we can get to our reps at many levels, the more we can talk to them. They'll talk to us, and that's just how things are done. They're part-time, and I'm telling everybody now, we're paying them $800 a day to do nothing right now. So we got to get them to be productive.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Marty that you'd like to ask right now?
I do. I'd like to know what are the bills that COS is supporting, so I can look them up and talk to my senator about it.
Well, Vicki, we don't have that yet. We don't have that support between now and next week. We're looking at about a dozen bills that are crossing over from one side of the aisle to the other that we've been tracking, which are basically education, mandates, government overreach type things, the firearms issue. We focused on those three subject matters. And right now that's in about a dozen bills. So we're waiting to see what crosses over, what gets assigned to committee, who those committee chairs are. And then we have to go through a proposal process that COS National has given us an outline for. And we send those in, and they've told us that we're only going to get 2, but we're going to try to get 3 or 4, depending on the resources that we have to track and follow. But they'll be in one of those 3 categories.
Okay. Anybody
So
else?
I'll be able to answer you more specifically, and I'll get that out to everybody, Gary, once we get approval from COS and let everybody know just what bills we're tracking.
All right. Marty, is there any reason for you to come on next week and give us an update before we go to the Capitol, or what do you think?
I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
All right. Well, let's plan on it again next week, because you're probably going to know more then, and you can educate us and we can pass it on to other people.
Yeah, and I should be able to zero in on more specifically what bills we're chasing, at least at that point.
Okay.
If we had a little cheat sheet to hand out to folks at the table, that'd be great, because then if they come in contact with any of the legislators, they can say, hey, we're pushing this, we're supporting this. Okay.
Yeah. And well, by the way, Mike, I'm glad you brought that up. So Brenda is bringing in 150 pocket constitutions. We've been given COS has put together these bookmarks for the handout. So on one side, it's got why support Convention of States. And I'm filling this out. There's several questions relative to every district, how many petition signers we have. There's some QR codes on it. And the other side has some information that, is just kind of general. But we're going to put these bookmarks into the pocket calculation or pocket constitutions. I just finished printing mailing labels today for all of our reps. So I'll have that on the front. So whoever is coming down and is going to see their rep can grab their reps' copies of those and take them to them and hand them out. And then whatever's left, we'll distribute, to the system there to, give to everybody. But it'll be a nice way to kind of introduce yourself and hand it to them and start a conversation.
That's great. Hey, Marty, too, I had a conversation with a gal named Myra Kinzer down in 62. And she tells me she's going to run for, I think it's House District Rep. And
she's in 62?
She's right in there. It's
What,
Myra Kinzer.
What district did you say she's in?
62.
Okay.
That'd be Bloomington area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old 62. Yeah.
Yeah. Everything but the little tiny island, the People's Republic of Bloomington.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Okay. Good.
All right. Well, that sounds good. Yeah. The more people we can get to run for school board. I mean, the focus is really, I think right now, I'm trying to get, imagine if the convention was called, we got 2 last week, imagine if we're going to call a convention in the next year, is Indiana ready? Right now, I'd have to say Indiana's not ready, on all the things that's in our petition. Term limits, we got a governor that's out of control with overreach. And, the budget is less of an issue, but we're spending a lot of money on things that we could be doing other things with. They are looking at some tax cuts this year for state taxes and business taxes and a number of things. They're pushing to try to buy some votes with those bills, but it's fairly minimal. So
The other thing, there's one more too, Marty. Jennifer Wolecki. She's a district captain trainee up in 91. And she's going to be running for school board.
oh, great. Yeah, you guys know Melba Kaiser. She's running for school board
Yes,
as well.
that's right, Melba. I forgot about her. Yes, she
Yeah.
is.
I'm
Yep.
seriously considering running for school board.
Yeah, and we're trying to get Larry to run for vice president of Indiana.
Oh man.
But that's all I had. Appreciate the time and look forward to seeing you guys if you can make it down in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm looking
All right.
forward to that.
Thanks, Marty.
Thanks, Marty.
You
Appreciate it.
bet. You bet. Take care.
All right.
Thanks,
See ya.
Marty.
So one of the things that I would say is that, at the table there, they will probably have information on the bills that COS is approved to lobby our legislators on. But if you have other bills that you want to lobby on, go on that website, look up who's on that committee, and tell your member that you want them to go bend the ear of the committee chair and the other people on the committee to your way of thinking, because the first hurdle is typically getting through a committee, and got to get through the committee before it can get to the full House or the full Senate. So, okay. Anybody have other questions, comments, things you want to chat about for a few minutes?
Did you want me
I
to?
want to ask you, do you want us to bring more of those Constitution booklets that we got at the meeting Saturday down to Indy with us, or do you think the 150 he's got will cover it?
The 150 that he has, that is enough for everybody, every House member and every senator. So no reason for us to bring any more for that.
Okay.
Any that are left over, we'll just throw over the railing anyway. So
Do you want me to bring a sign or anything? I got 2 brand new signs. If you want one.
Larry, I think you're bringing materials, aren't you, for the table, banners and stuff?
Marty asked for a banner, so I thought I'd bring the banner and the piping to hook it up to tablecloth. I'm not sure where the table's coming from, quite frankly. And I have a few flyer and pamphlet display cases that I can bring, and some handouts, some palm cards and some flyers. And that's really all I have.
Do you think we need more than that?
Gosh, I don't know.
I can bring some if you want.
Probably better to have more than not enough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you have smaller signs besides the banner, that might be fine. George, did you have something you wanted to?
yeah, you guys remember Larry Wee Wee, right?
Oh yeah.
He had a thing. I think he made it himself. It was like a sandwich board. It was,
Right.
triangle. Do you think something like that would be useful? Or handy? You can make one side like a chalkboard. They make that chalkboard paint. You could just paint it.
Maybe a whiteboard or something that you can dry erase on.
Yeah. Those are kind of expensive. You can just get some blackboard paint. Just use chalk on it too.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I was thinking of doing something like that as a winter project, putting a couple of those together. I mean, they'd have to sit out in the aisle. I don't know if that's always allowed or not, but
Or you mean about as tall as the table?
No,
Is it
something about
taller than a table?
5 feet tall or something. I think Larry's was like 5 feet tall or something last week.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it. I just don't remember the size.
How wide was it? Do you remember?
Probably a foot and a half.
Yeah, it wasn't, maybe a couple feet at the most. Wasn't real wide, no.
I
And
think
it had a chain so it could like hold itself open and stuff.
Yeah.
that's fine. I think really that would be, more useful maybe at like gun shows or county
Yeah.
fairs. I don't know
Yeah,
how
not
much.
so much for the surge.
I'm sorry.
Not so much for like the surge because there'd be a lot of people walking around and it's kind of a
Right.
tight space. So
Well, Gary, besides the legislators themselves and the people from COS, are we expecting to run into other people, just citizens there for one reason or another, or very many of those, or?
Be unlikely to be a lot of other
Nothing
people
like it,
there
it could be. Is
unless
there a
there's.
special door that I'm going to have to come through to bring that banner and piping and whatnot in, or do you just come through the main entrance?
I think if you come in through the main entrance, they're probably going to X-ray it and so forth, but I don't think it'll be you can tell them that we, made a request to get a table and we're just going to set stuff up at the table. And I wouldn't think that'll be a problem.
And I got the idea from Marty that the area is quite large. He said it'll hold 100 people.
Yeah.
It's not in a room. It's just out in the hallway.
Yeah. Out in that open area, there's a lot of room there, but, I think the surges I've been to, there are, I haven't noticed a lot of other people there. It's typically the legislators and some of their staff people and stuff running around. And, we will be there. If there's somebody else, there might be other groups there. We don't really know. When I went down,
we went with AFP, didn't we?
what's that?
We went with AFP at that time, didn't we, in 2019?
Yeah, with AFP, and there were a number of those folks there. Well, the only other time I was really at the Capitol was when I filed a run for the State House back in 2010. And that's when the labor unions were lobbying the legislature. The whole building was jammed with people then. That's when they were working on passing the right to work bill.
My gosh, that sounds like an insurrection to me, Gary.
It was much more like an insurrection than anything that's
I don't know who's going to do it.
Anyway.
I don't know who's going to do it, but Marty told me somebody was going to be there in the afternoon to give a tour.
Well,
Right.
That's great. That'd be great. I have never been in that building. That tells you how connected to politics I've been in my life.
Yeah, it might be a selling point to people that are, if you want to learn about the State House and the intricacies.
Yeah.
Right. And it doesn't have to be district captains, volunteer activists. If you want to blast out in your region, anybody that wants to go that's on our mailing list, it's a great opportunity to get people there, have them get acquainted with us, find out, we're real people. We're not nothing weird about us. Well, a few of us maybe, but generally not. And, that's a way to potentially turn somebody who's just not an activist into an activist. If they find out that, hey, we really do things that can be effective. And honestly, in the state level, there's nothing more effective than building a relationship with your state legislator and getting face to face with them and, letting them know the issues that are important to you. I don't know how many of you tuned into Battle Cry on Sunday night, but one of the interesting things that Mark Meckler talked about was, I think it was in Nebraska, one of the state legislators who had always been against COS. He had a town hall meeting in his district, and about 300 people showed up who were supporters of COS, and he flipped and became a co-sponsor. And if the numbers of people that show up and tell the legislator, hey, we are concerned about this issue, believe me, they know that if one person makes the trip to the Capitol, there's probably at least 100 others that feel strongly about it, or maybe 500 others. So you really, when you go and meet with them and talk to them about an issue, unless it's just your personal pet peeve, they're going to understand that when you talk about mask mandates or something, that you are probably speaking for a whole lot of other people who feel the same way but just didn't make the trip.
Speaking of the mask mandates, are they mask Nazis at the State House?
That's a great question.
I
Because I don't do masks.
I don't either.
don't either.
Well, we need to ask Marty about that. I'm assuming we do not. I'm going to tell him I have CFS. I can't wear a mask, and we'll see what happens. But anyway,
Well, you might tell them you've been diagnosed with advanced CS.
that's
You know
That's
what
kinda
that
like
is,
what-
right?
What's
that's kind of like
advanced CF?
CFS.
Oh man, you don't know what that's common sense.
I know.
Oh,
CFS is common friggin' sense. So,
I met a guy today on the road all by himself in this big black SUV with a mask on by himself.
I'm a supporter.
yeah, I've seen far too many of those.
Oh, I almost wanted to stop him and ask him if he's living under a rock.
Yeah. Well, you realize there are a lot of people that have, they've drank the Kool-Aid and they've got the fear. And
Well, I just sent you the video by Dennis Prager on irrational versus rational fear. You'll get it.
I'll take a look at that if I have a minute here. Couple things I wanted to check on the LMT stuff. Thomas, have you been able to get a hold of Ryan Fogelsong?
No,
Okay.
I've been calling. Just sent him a text just an hour ago.
Okay.
The same with Mr. Sigler.
Okay.
And there's no response from anybody.
All right. Well, keep after him. If nothing happens, we could just get him rejected.
Speaking of, now that I have the floor, this little thing about committee chairs and how they control the Senate or the House, and it doesn't matter, the committees change the Indiana Constitution. Take some of that power away from them.
I'm not sure it's in the Constitution.
It's probably in the rules for the House.
Rules,
It
probably.
might not be in the Constitution now, but it can be.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing about amending things. You can add, take away, or,
You know it's the same way at the federal level.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's
Well, I just
beyond comprehension at the federal level.
I just went through the Indiana Constitution. That's what I was doing. Trying to find anything that shows you how to change the Indiana Constitution. Guess what? I can't find it anywhere. Except George suggested we take a match to it.
Well, you know what? Let's ask Marty about that if he knows about that. And also next week we want to find out for sure about the mask thing. I'll see if I can find out ahead of time, but because you may be talking to people who want to know that.
There's also, that's another thing I wanted to say. I have no problem wearing a mask. Okay, that I especially during the winter. I've been on the downside of pneumonia with cold air going down into my lungs when I was 19 years old. So now I wear them. But to each his own.
That's right. Everybody ought to have their choice.
Yep, we all need a choice. I still say we need to change the Indiana Constitution and smack those people's hands. You would lose your hand.
Cheryl, I have not heard back on David Southard,
Okay.
but it looks like he has two different accounts. One, he's as assigned as a district captain, and one as a DC team or something. So anyway, Jerry is still working on getting his email thing squared away.
Yeah, Dave said he couldn't sign in at all now. He could yesterday, or could Friday, but now he can't at all. And it says on when I was trying to set up his COS action email that email was locked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I got. I got that with one of them.
Yeah, while they're working on that, they've got it. They probably got it locked. Anyway, take a look. We're doing really well on the LMT. We're down to just 4 district captains who are open or in process. 1 onboarding. Volunteer activists. We just have 4 volunteer activists in there that are open or in progress. DC team, I think we've got a few people off of there. And I noticed on the training sheet, Cheryl, have you tried to reach out to Stacy Camp?
Yes, I called and left a voicemail. I think it was Saturday afternoon. I have not heard from her.
Okay. All right. Well, she told me that, sometime after Christmas, she would get going on that again. So hopefully we can do that.
Well, I'll keep calling her till I get her.
Okay. And if we find out she doesn't want to be involved, that's okay. But yeah, keep after her. And John Ziegler, Thomas, have you had any luck with him? Thomas, you're still muted.
Read my lips.
I'm trying. I got too much hair around him.
Gosh. When we was talking about, well, who was that other guy we talked about?
Ryan Fogelsong.
Ryan, yeah, Ryan. I mentioned John.
Okay.
Same thing.
Okay. No response.
He's last time I talked to him, he was still working 12-hour shifts. So
okay. All right. George, it looks like there's a number of people. I don't know if you've seen the list on the training sheet, but there's a number of people that need to be come off of there either because we've booted them out or because they maybe one or so that have passed. And are you trying to work with Ryan White then to get him up to speed?
I talked to him yesterday, and I really just talked to him about the Veterans Coalition stuff. Dale wanted to get one in each region. He's going to work on checking that out. Okay. I did not talk to him about training. I forgot about that. I'll call him tomorrow. Check it out. All right.
You might let him know after we do the capital surge. Maybe he'd like to come on this call and talk to all of you if he would like to do that on a Monday night. That'd be good. He could talk to us about the building that Veterans Coalition. So
yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, that's pretty much all I've got. Anybody else have stuff you want to chat about?
Did you pass along the info that on promoting the surge?
No.
Oh,
Yeah, Mike sent me to review an email that he is sending out to everybody in his region. And I would encourage you guys to do that, is to promote the capital surge, do an email blast to everybody in the region. And so again, they don't have to be activists or anything, but if they'd like to join us at the State House, and even if you assume nobody's going to say yes, it helps let them know we are doing things. We are activists. We're going to the State House. We're talking to these legislators. And so we're not the 50 groups that you guys all get emails from saying, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, write a check and send us money. We're people that are really doing things. We're not just asking for money. So I think that's worthwhile to send out that kind of an email blast, just to let people know that we are an activist group that goes to the State House, and we put our money where our mouth is in terms of taking action.
and I sent out one today, and I'll send another one out about 2 days before the event, just to remind them.
Yeah.
Text blasts are pretty helpful for that too.
Yep.
A heads up, like a couple days before. The text blast seems to get me more response.
Yeah.
That's a very good idea.
I usually send the first text blast, and I'll just say, please check your email for important information about Convention of States. And then I send the email, and then I send another text right before.
Good strategy. Because, there's a saying about, recruiting people, that a lot of times you have to talk to people 5 to 7 times to, get through to them. That's why you hear, TV commercials and radio commercials over and over and over again, because they know that most people don't take action just the first time they hear something. And repetition is a key strategy to, send out a couple of emails, and do the, follow up or reinforce that with text blasts. That's a great strategy.
Yeah. If you want to know the most effective way of doing that, just think COVID-19 death count every day.
True. I have a question about the calendar. We are having I should say the Clay County Chamber of Commerce is sponsoring or co-sponsoring a Cracker Barrel at the Corey Firehouse in February. Is that something that I need to put on the state calendar?
Are you going to have a table there or something?
I don't know. I was just, I've got to call the chamber and find out more information, but the legislators are going to be there for us to talk to them. I'm assuming that we're going to be able to ask them questions.
Yeah, I would say yes. You can put that on the calendar. Say opportunity for a meet and greet with legislators from Region 7 area or something like that. Put that on the calendar with the times, the location.
Okay,
that'd be good. And it's another thing to encourage. I think everybody, George, refresh my memory, everybody can see that calendar if they've got the link, right? Or that's not just an internal thing, is it?
Hey, by the way,
in fact, I think they can. I think they can even add an event to it. I think, or they have to throw it at Ken and he does it.
Yeah, I'm not sure who all can add events, but I think you guys can add events. And if you can't, Ken Kashuba is one of the administrators for the calendar. If you have added something and you want to change it or cancel it, you have to go to him. You can't, even though you can put something on, you can't change it later. So Ken Kashuba is the guy to go to for those things. Just typically message him in Slack and let him know to put something on if you can't, or to change it, whatever needs to be done.
Hey, Gary.
Yes.
Remember, I was asking you why not put the link right in the calendar. You can put those in there. I saw one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw one, and somebody was saying, "Hey, here's a meeting or something," and there was a link right in there.
Yeah, we've looked at that, and I don't know whatever happened with. But when the calendar first came out, I've seen the same thing you're talking about, Mike. And I said, well, why don't you just put the link to the meeting, in the description?
Yeah, because then you don't have to dig through 15 pages of Slack. It's just, hey, today's the meeting. I see it on the calendar. I'm just going to hit the link and go right to it.
Yeah, we'll bring it up again. But I don't, Gary, do you remember anything ever coming to that? Do you remember us talking about that at a staff meeting or something?
I do remember us talking about it, but I was thinking that, let me see.
And I got the link if anybody needs it. I can fire it off to you. So
I have looked at some other things. I haven't seen a link.
Yeah, I've of course got it on mine. Everybody should have it in here. Oh, by the way, George,
what?
while he's looking for that, I had turned over a new leaf and decided to try to actually start logging my things that I'm doing on that spreadsheet so I get points.
DCMEP, that's Gary's stuff. Go ahead.
So I felt bad about that, but then I got all excited, and I got on that spreadsheet and I started putting stuff in there and getting points and everything, and I realized I was putting it on the 2021 calendar. And should we just go over the 2021, or is somebody going to put a 2022 in there?
Yeah, again, throw that at Gary. That's his puppy.
Okay,
Yeah, but
that's
that's only for district captains now anyway.
Yeah.
We're not supposed
Really?
to put anything on there.
What?
Anyway.
Sorry to bust your bubble, Mike.
Oh my gosh! After I turned over a new leaf and everything.
I will put the link in Slack. My apologies. The reason I don't think they put links on the calendar, it's like this meeting. If anybody else has the link that's not part of this group, they could come into the meeting. And so I think they discourage putting links on there for things unless it's a meeting that when you go to it, the host has to separately admit you to the meeting.
Yeah.
I think that's why they don't have links in most of those. I noticed one for the National Grassroots Call. They have a link to register for the call.
Yeah, that's the one I
For the
saw.
call itself. So,
Okay.
well, we're getting close to the top of the hour. Anybody have anything else you want to chat about? I
Oh,
appreciate.
there is one more thing. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I put a fascinating interview on the random channel. Three ladies. The title.
Three what?
There's three ladies on the interview. There's actually one lady being interviewed.
Oh.
There's two others there with her, and she is she's talking about how one single mom discovered a method of going into the school board and changing everything. And it took her just a couple days. It took her actually 5 days, and all mask mandates were dropped. All.
Yeah, you guys ought to take a look at
Instantly.
that.
Where did you post it?
on random? If you haven't seen that interview, you should look at it. It's
If
remarkable.
you
I will be.
if you want to find it, you can go to Rumble and search a video called Bonds, Bonds,
Yes.
Bonds for the Win.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen that actually. And the
Okay.
problem with my school board is, according to a couple of the members, they don't have to be bonded.
Well, yeah. I don't think that's
Sure.
probably true. You do a FOIA request.
Gotcha.
See a
Contact the treasurer for the
Uh-huh.
school system, the treasurer will know if those board members are bonded.
Okay.
Because they'll be the
that's-
one that pays the bonding company for
Right.
that bond.
That's good. That's a good thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the school board treasurer or the county treasurer?
The school board treasurer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they may not even know they're bonded, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Which proves my point that many of them shouldn't be on that board.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to be bonded once. Well, twice. But,
You mean to get out of jail?
you don't mean like bail bond. You mean something else.
No, it's the same thing. It's actually the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The typically, yeah, in Indiana, there is I looked up the law on it. You can search the law on bonds, and yeah, there are insurance companies that write bonds for public employees in Indiana because most of the people who are elected or most elected officials have to have a bond.
Right.
And by filing a claim against the bond, threatening that you've been harmed by the actions of that board member, the bonding company will look at it and tell the public official either, if they think the claim has merit, that the public official has to change their position or they're going to be paying damages.
Yeah, because then the person that is bonded has to pay it out of their pocket. They are
Right.
personally liable. It is
Right.
enormous. And so obviously I began to think beyond school boards. And I thought, wow, what a wonderful mechanism for holding politicians' feet to the fire that happen to be breaking the law.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any politicians that are breaking the law in your own districts, in your own regions?
What about our governor?
I was going to say the governor sure is.
Yes. Yes. How about the Nuremberg Code? How about harming your children by putting masks on them with no data to back that up? How about that?
Yeah.
That sound like it's breaking the law to you?
Seems like a medical experiment, if nothing else. Yeah.
It is an experiment.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw, I saw a headline yesterday that speech therapists have had a more than 300% increase.
Oh,
in
yes,
referrals
I did.
because all these kids are wearing masks and that's creating speech problems, partly because they're not seeing, people's lips move when they talk. And also because they
Well,
don't
kids
hear.
take their cues from facial expressions too.
Right.
So they are damaging these kids.
Yeah.
Not
Serious
to
damage.
not to mention the poor old people like me who need to see your lips move to hear you.
Well, there's that.
Should I sit closer?
No, I
Now
can
you
see
know
your
why I
lips.
have my mustache.
I have pretty good hearing, and I struggle with some of these girls that have masks on and they don't talk very loud.
Oh,
And I'm
they
like,
do that to
I
me,
keep
and I
leaning more
yell right.
forward.
I yell right at them. I can't hear you.
Well, I think everybody needs to be demuzzled
Yeah.
They do.
ASAP.
They do. You are right, Cheryl.
That's a good point. Well, guys, it's pretty much 9:00. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate your time and all you do for Convention Estates. And I will, if I don't talk to you in the meantime, I will see you next Monday.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks,
That's
Gary.
my angry
Bye,
spider
everybody.
imitation. Bye. Merry Christmas.
Bye.